Reached out to Bill Plunkett. He covers the Dodgers for the Orange County Register, and Bill kind enough to join us from Florida. His recent article, Yasiel Puig's Late Show, provides a big hit. I'm fascinated by him, Bill. I don't know how it is covering him day to day with what you're going to get on and off the field. So describe that as you go to a game each day, what you expect from Yasiel Puig.
You expect something. You have no idea what that something is going to be. I mean, he has a flair for the dramatic, as we've seen, but he's just, the best way I can describe it, he's like a 14-year-old kid in a 22-year-old NFL linebacker's body. And, you know, he's got the world on a string. He's just enjoying life right now and soaking up every part of, what comes with being a breakout star in L.A. in the major leagues. And on the field, there's just so much physical talent that you never know what he might do, but he's going to do something that affects the game every night.
I don't know if the Dodgers would ever be honest with you, but if you're trying to play that role now, would you be more concerned with what you see on the field or off the field with Yasiel Puig, or either?
I would be concerned with his reaction to things. You know, there's no reason for him to have the dismissive, combative attitude towards the media that he has. I mean, you know, he's gotten pretty much nothing but great coverage since he came up, so I don't know why he's got a chip on his shoulder about us. I would worry about his slow learning curve for some of the subtleties of the game, things like missing the cutoff man and, you know, trying to go from second to third on a shallow fly out to center field. And, you know, those are the kind of things that you should be smoothing out those rough edges. And I think Ned Colletti said it best a little while ago. He's asked about that, and he said Yasiel is convinced that he can outrun any baseball and he can throw anybody out. Yeah. And you don't want to take that away. You don't want to take away that aggressiveness, that confidence, that energy. On the other hand, he can't outrun every ball, and he can't throw out every guy on the bases. So he's got to learn. You want him to learn some discipline, but you really don't want to take the edge off that game too much.
You have him in a big city there, big fishbowl, a lot of money attached to the Dodgers. The expectations are extremely high. His personality fitting Los Angeles, or say a place like Pittsburgh or Kansas City, where maybe he's allowed to be a little bit more of a 22-year-old kid.
Yeah, there'd be a little more room for that and fewer temptations, let's put it that way. But remember, this is a guy who got arrested for driving 97 in a 50 zone in Chattanooga, Tennessee. So I think he can find trouble anywhere. You know, it's just, you have to remember that this is a guy who a little over a year ago, was playing in Cuba where there were no TV cameras following him to the clubs. You know, he was making $17 a month. And you flip the switch and suddenly he's in Los Angeles making millions, getting invited to the ESPYs and Playboy Mansion. You know, LeBron wants to roll with him on South Beach. That is, I mean, those are two different worlds there, and there was no transition time. He went from 0 to 97 in no time at all.
Is it fair to make the comparison? I don't know if it's a leap here, but I said Johnny Manziel happened upon the scene overnight. He beats Alabama. All of a sudden, he wins the Heisman. Next thing you know, he's hanging with LeBron and Drake and some of these other guys that he's out of a small, he's College Station. Now he's the nation. Here's Yasiel Puig out of Cuba, now in Los Angeles and the rest of the United States.
Yeah, that's probably a pretty good comparison. About the same age too. I was on the Angels beat the last few years, so I saw Mike Trout and his arrival on the big leagues, and it was a so much different dynamic. Mike was like the little brother in the clubhouse that everybody kind of took care of. He had Torrey Hunter, the best role model best big brother you could ever ask for in a big league clubhouse. That is not the dynamic in the Dodgers clubhouse. There's no big brother for Puig, and I don't think he wants one. He's not the kind of guy who thinks he needs one. And the other thing was the baseball IQ. I mean, they're both tremendously physically talented, but Trout's baseball IQ is off the charts by comparison. You know, his father played professionally in the minor leagues, was a high school coach. He Trout had probably 1,500 minor league at-bats. Puig came in with a little bit of experience in Cuba and I think 250, 300 at-bats in the minor leagues, and bam, he's on the big league stage. Very different dynamic.
Well, you know what, people have responded when they said, you're overreacting to Yasiel Puig with, some of the things on the field and off the field. And I said, well, okay. I said the same thing about Johnny Manziel a couple of months ago. Now, where are we with Johnny Manziel? I think you have to look at a pattern here. I know that you're going to be a kid. You're going to have fun. It's new to you, especially somebody coming in from another country with no money. Now, all of a sudden, how could you not enjoy it? The concern I would have is there a pattern developing here? Manziel, we've seen. There's a pattern for him pushing the boundaries. Is there a pattern there with Yasiel Puig?
I think you're absolutely right. And those of us around the team could have told you back in spring training that this guy was going to be a handful. And he arrived prepackaged as a superstar in his mind. He knew he was great. And it's just taken the rest of us a few months to catch up with that.
But how does he not start the year in the majors? That as great as he is. Now, were they doing that as a precautionary move?
No, it was. They weren't sure that what they were seeing in spring training was what they were going to see when the lights came on and they added a third deck to the stadium. And it's spring training. To be honest about it. The other thing was they did not want to have him on the team just to sit on the bench. And when they came out of spring training, they had Carl Crawford, Andre Ethier, and Matt Kemp as their everyday outfield. Those are three all-stars, established major leaguers, and they did not see where the at-bats were going to come for Puig. Now, there's a lot of us who were writing in spring training that you could find those at-bats. Kemp was coming off shoulder surgery, Crawford coming off elbow surgery. You give him, 2 starts in left a week and give Crawford the days off against lefties. You do the same, maybe give him a start or two in place of Ethier against lefties. A start or two for Kemp, kind of ease him back, and he gets those at bats. But mainly it was the playing time issue. They didn't see a place for him, and then injuries forced their hand. And Crawford and Kemp both went on the DL in late May, and a few days later the call went out to Yasiel.
I'm going to leave you with this. I know you said you covered the Angels, but if I said to you, you could have A-Rod at his age and you owe him $100 million, or Pujols at his age and you owe him $200 million, which contract would you take right now?
Ooh, that's a tough one. You got to go for the lesser. You got to take the $100 million and get out from under it sooner.
That Pujols deal is so bad, Billy. It's so bad.
Oh, they have themselves a 8 years, $212 million for essentially a DH. Because I just don't see.
Oh man,
I don't see Albert being on the field 130 times a year if they play him at first base. He's gotten to the point where he's starting to break down.
Good to visit with you. Thanks for joining us. Enjoy the work. Thank you, Bill.
Anytime, Dan.
All right, Bill Plunkett, Orange County Register.
The Dan Patrick Show, weekday mornings on Audience.